Are you ready for me to start the webinar?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to let them in and I will quickly introduce you and tell them about the questions at the end. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's fine.
great, great. Okay. All right, so all right, hello, who's everyone who's joining? I'm Ruth Anderson. I am a teacher in the Ottawa-Carleton District School Board, and I have the opportunity to welcome Jennifer, who is going to be talking about Glendon, York campus. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining. I know you had to take over from someone who was not well today, so thanks so much for doing that. You can put your questions in the chat. We're going to leave time at the end, and I will read them out, okay? So we will leave time at the end for questions, and I will read those questions out to you. All right. I think if you're ready, Jennifer, you may begin. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much also for joining this session to learn more about Glendon and why it's important to study in Toronto and how that would connect you to the job market. So I just want to start by giving you the opportunity to have my details to be able to reconnect with me later on a one-on-one basis if you'd like. I do that all year round because I'm a student admissions advisor. So feel free to scan the QR code if you'd like. And you could also always email us and follow our Instagram handle to learn more about what we do. So one thing I wanted to start with is that, you're trying to get into the job market. That's why you're in this session. But what is nice also that you have at least 4 years between now and the job market. So how do you stand out to get to the university? And in university, we have a lot of programming. One of them is the Top Scholars Program. And essentially, it's for everyone who has a 90 plus average or the equivalent when they apply for university. But we only have 100 spots that we could reserve for these students. So it would be only reserved for the first 100 who meet the requirements and accept their offer of admissions. And once you are one of those top scholars in the top scholars community, you will be eligible to also join the research apprenticeship program, which is really your first initiation into research. And normally in universities, you don't get to start research until year maybe 2 or even 3 and 4. But this is your opportunity to start doing research in year 1. So it's really a great opportunity. Plus, it comes with a lot of perks like a free gym membership and so on and so forth. So what is Glendon and what is York University? So York University is the third largest university in Canada, but we operate over 3 campuses within the Greater Toronto area. So we have over 200 programs that you could come and apply to. 150 of them are your kind of undergraduate program that you could select right from high school. Our students come from 175 countries in the world, and we have more than 50,000 students across our 3 campuses. Glendon and York are well renowned in the world, and we actually have a lot of rankings like top 5 across 11 subjects that we offer according to World University rankings, and we're also number 4 in Canada according to Maclean's rankings. We definitely also put sustainability at the core of what we do, so we've ranked in the top 35 globally for kind of being a green campus. Now, why would you study at York? And this is exactly why you're here in this session. The academic experience is something that is very, very important if you wanted to go into specific fields, later on that require something beyond your undergraduate, your BA or BSc. And having that experience with our professors, being able to learn and also conduct research alongside award-winning researchers and our professors will really make you stand out on the job market and also in your applications for graduate studies or even going into, Faculty of Medicine, for example, in some universities. We've had students who, through that, they managed to publish a lot of papers. The student came to Glendon not even speaking French at first, had to learn it, and they are currently at U Ottawa in their final year of becoming a doctor. And this only happened because of that kind of connection with the research and the researchers directly. Career readiness, this is something that is very easy because every program within York and also at Glendon has experiential education. We actually have teams dedicated at every faculty to help you and pair you with a good placement, internship, and in some programs, even co-ops. So we really have all of that students can look for. Lots of hands-on, lots of guest lecturers that we get that are really impactful in the field or that would give you a different perspective. And of course, when you're at Glendon, you get that community feel. And, maybe a lot of universities would mention that, but really nothing speaks community like the Glendon campus and how human scale size it is. It's such a beautiful campus. This is actually the campus behind me. This is the Glendon Manor, which if you actually come to our open houses, we have one coming on November 9th, you'll get to learn more about the story behind that building and how York was founded here before we moved to have three campuses. So everybody gets to know you, and this includes your classmates, your professors, the staff, even the staff at the dining hall. If you go there frequently, they will know your actual order every time if you always kind of go for the same thing. So you're really not just a number, they get to know you. And what's nice about this is you're not just meeting people from your program. You're able to form companies, work on entrepreneurship ideas with someone from a different um, discipline. So all these cross-disciplinary type of collaborations are possible with what happens. And one thing that is personal to me, I always kind of mention it to students when they come to me, is that when going to masters and beyond, you need reference letters. And you want those reference letters to really speak to your abilities, to your experience, and not just be generic based on your grades only. So, one reference that I got was from a professor that I truly admire, but I never took a single class with them. So, this is how much of a community we're talking about at Glendon. You don't need to even be in the classroom of the professor as long as you're active and you ask them questions, you discuss research with them. They will know you enough to write a really supportive reference letter. And I did get into the master's and I finished it. So, it did work. So the campuses, just to give you a rundown, is the Glendon campus, founding campus right here. This is the Manor or Glendon Hall. The Kiel campus, and here you would see that we have the York subway station. So we are very, very connected, whether it is Glendon or York, to downtown Toronto. And this is also really important because a lot of things are downtown. It's the kind of economical capital. So it's really good to have those connections. And it's really just a few subway rides down to downtown. And the newly opened campus is Markham, this golden building. They really focus on technology and innovation. And actually, for readiness on the job market, one of their programs is designed so that you actually have to apply for a job and then apply to the program and you have to get into both and you start working for 4 years, it could even cover the whole tuition of, you know, the whole duration of your study or come close to covering all of it. And you're working for the full 4 years, but you come to York for a couple weeks every year to do some of the kind of more academic work, and you get your degree. So it's one that is really just kind of going high school into the job market right away. Now, what is very unique about Glendon is that the class size average is 24 students per class. In fact, we do have caps on our classes. So most classes, you will see that there will be a cap of like 45 or 49 students. Some classes will be more intimate. There will be about like 5 students per class. Like, for example, our professional translation program in upper years, not many students, are fully bilingual in both languages to come for a program like that, but it is one of its kind in Ontario currently. So if that's something you're interested in, it really feels like you get to know everybody in the program. It's a multilingual environment, like we mentioned. So on top of your English and French, we also offer Spanish. And we also offer Anishinaabe so the Ojibwe language. But as a Glendon student, you are also part of the full York community and you will get a York University degree. So that means that you also have access to all the different language courses offered in different faculties, like the Faculty of Liberal Arts and Professional Studies. So that allows you to take courses like Dutch, and you would actually travel to Germany if you wish for a summer class. You could learn Mandarin, you could learn Japanese, you could learn really anything, Italian, Arabic, whatever language you like. And we are right at the West Don River, so we really have a lot of trees, forests that you could walk, trails that take you to a lot of really cool areas. And what we've introduced this year was the core curriculum. And I'll tell you more about that in the later slides, but this is a really important thing for in many ways. Um, so core curriculum is something that we created that will allow different students from different programs to meet together all at the same time. So every first year student in their first year will come to class on Monday between 1 and 3, and they will be in one of the becoming a scholar class. We have different sections, of course, because like I mentioned, we try to keep the average class size very minimal. So there are several type of sections that you could join, but you're all in university at the same time. You get to meet students from every program at Glendon, and it allows for you to develop skills like even getting outside of your comfort zone. So one of the assignments that I saw this year they created is they get you to say what is a project that you know that you're scared to do if you were asked to do. So one of the students shared with me that she's scared of podcasts, but still also intrigued about them. So now she's kind of getting through her fear of podcast and being kind of behind the mic, and that would be her final project. So having to create content and also do the podcast. So this is something that they start here in that kind of course. In the second semester, a student will go into two ways. The scientific kind of streams will go to take something like computer science, whereas the rest of the students will take something that it kind of hones on the research skills that they need to develop for their programs. Um, and of course, all of our courses focus on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, so you'll see a lot of that kind of theme come up in those courses. Our Glendon campus is a bilingual campus, and every program can be taken in a bilingual way. So you get a bilingual degree, you could even get a bilingual certificate. If you add Spanish, you could get a trilingual certificate of excellence. But for those who are less likely to want to pursue their education in French, although there are a lot of benefits to that, like even winning scholarships, you could opt for the flexible language requirements. But the programs and areas that we focus on in terms of kind of the jobs that you might be interested in are pre-law and public policy of human rights. So this could be your um, political science, international studies type of programs. We have business, finance, and big data analytics. So this would be our business economics, math programs, health and environmental science. This is our BScs in biology and psychology. We have an education program where you could teach French as a second language, and we have a special designation for that, or really teach any subject and do your education in English instead. We have communication communication, culture, and the arts. We have a lot of minors into that as well. And of course, for someone who's still exploring what they want to do in university, they haven't kind of made their mind yet about exactly what they want, they could start in our first year exploration program. We didn't call it undecided, we didn't call it undeclared, because really we want you to feel like you're there in university to have fun, to explore your options, take different courses in different areas, and then by the end of your first year, hopefully you'll have a better idea of what you actually like versus what you thought you liked when it came to actually studying the subject, and then you declare your actual major by the end of it. So what is that flexible language requirement? So it allows you to just kind of get away in university by only taking 6 credits. So that could be a full year course that you start in September when you begin your studies and it ends in April, or it could be taking 2 semestered courses. So a course that starts in September to December, and then another one that starts January to April. Um, Not all the programs are eligible for that because we have a mandate for bilingualism and we want to kind of promote science in a bilingual way. So, for example, our BScs in biology and psychology are exempt. Our dual degree that sends you to France for 2 years, and you spend 2 years here at Glendon getting an IBA in international studies, and then you go to Lyon Business School to do a global BBA, or even our communications program and translation, obviously, because it's bilingual. These are exempt, but really all of these programs that you do see on the screen, you could do entirely in English, minus the 6 credits of language requirements that you do for the flexible option. Of course, the more French you take, the more scholarships, like I mentioned, but this is just a start. So how does your degree look like? So we talked about those core curriculum, and they will follow you throughout your studies. You have the first year 2 courses we mentioned. Your major is the biggest kind of part of what you're selecting. So this is like, I want to be a psychologist, I'll go into psychology. I want to be a translator, I'll go into translation. I want to be a biologist, um, or I want to be a lawyer. So you go into whatever major that you're interested in. And there will be some courses on the side. These will be your electives. Now, of course, some programs have a lot more requirements than others. So your sciences will have more requirements than your liberal arts type programs or humanities courses. This is where you get more electives, more things that you could do outside, maybe even deciding to go on exchange. So you add your international exchange component to it. So the courses you take abroad, plus the prep courses for that, as well as your language courses. So that could be just taking the minimum that you need for the flexible requirement. It could be adding Spanish, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, etc. And really, we're trying to make sure that you're going out of Glendon as a well-rounded individual that has experience in a lot of different things. In fact, I did get a criticism from a professor one time. I was trying to take another class with him because I truly enjoyed him and his class and the content. He was very engaging. One of the older professors that I've actually had. So I was expressing my interest in taking the class, and I told him that I noticed that it was not given in a specific year, but it was given the year after. And of course, he was joking, but he came to me in the hallway and he said, "If I see you in this classroom, I'll be calling your parents." He definitely does not have my parents' number. But the reason he mentioned that is he told me, "You managed to kind of master the skills that I taught in the other class. This one is not much different. It will kind of add a little bit details on top of this that you could go and research yourself. I don't want you to spend more time in the same area of study. I want you to go and explore different things. You need to be able to not only solve the problems that I gave you in my class, but to also solve other programs in different other problems in different areas." And this is something that I always give as advice to students because I felt like he is actually correct in what he tried to tell me, and he's a philosophy prof, so. Now, the other thing is sometimes students say, okay, like, I'm interested in two areas of studies, right? So I want to do this, but I'm also interested in getting this on the side. So my sister is interested in becoming a teacher, really understanding French, but she also wants to teach English as an international language and travel. Um, I know someone who was super passionate about biology and psychology and want to be a lawyer. She actually ended up coming for psychology, added a minor in biology, so two different areas of study, and then went into law school and just recently became a lawyer. And this is very possible. Sometimes you might be thinking in a specific domain and end up picking that program specifically and studying it for the whole 4 years. But you're like, okay, I want to use that in an entrepreneurship way. So I want to be able to create my own company, but I don't have the skills I need for that. So what can I do to supplement this? So basically, there's this master's program at Schulich School of Business. I don't know if you've heard of the school. It's one of the renowned business schools in Canada. And what they have is the Masters of Management program. It's a 1 year master's, but it's specifically designed for someone who did not study anything related to business. So you specifically should be someone who did not take business economics, or the dual degree at Glendon. So you could have been in sociology and psychology, anything really, except business related programs. You need to have had an 85% average and also 85% plus coming from high school. You get an invitation to fill out a form to pre-apply for that master's. So it's not like the full application to a master. They actually make it much easier because this is why we call it the pathway, where you go 4 years of undergrad plus 1 year in graduate studies, and you get that expertise in the field that you selected, plus that Master's of Management. So it's something that we created to make sure that it's easy for you to access a master's, but also kind of learn those skills that you might need to enhance whatever it is that you're interested in actually doing. On top of your majors, in the electives, you could actually try to select something strategically. So you could double major or do a major and a certificate. I did kind of briefly mention my sister, who is interested in teaching French, which surely she is in French studies with the B.Ed. She did get in, but she added the discipline of teaching English as an international language. Now, the reason she added this is because there's a 9 credit summer course that takes all the students in the class. So, yes, they do go as a course, as a class, and they will go to Colombia to teach English there for the whole summer. Everybody else that I know that were interested in going into law school did the law and social thought certificate. So that certificate actually combines different areas from political science, a course in psychology, philosophy, international studies, and history all together to teach you all those things that you need for kind of getting that law and social thought certificate. Public history is also a really nice one that a lot of history students end up taking. It teaches them a lot about kind of archiving and doing a lot of really cool things. Some of them actually want to go into more like politics and or policy, so they take the refugee and migration studies instead. And of course, for those passionate about language, we have Spanish as certificates, so it could be translation with English, or it could be just a Spanish for business and professional communications. These are the students interested in business or interested in working in multinational companies. That way, they're able to communicate with different stakeholders in different languages. So it's really a great thing to boost not only your undergraduate program and your major, it adds a line on your CV, makes you kind of more compelling on the job market. Now, when it comes to the majors themselves, you heard me say a few of them out loud, but I don't know if you're able to chat with us, send us like something directly. If you'd like me to speak about any specific programs, please feel free to note that in the chat.
Jennifer, just so you know, you've got 20 minutes left, and there are a couple of questions. I'll be the ones that ask you the questions, and I've asked them to type them into the Q&A, and I'll ask them to you. So you let me know
Oh,
when you want to do that, okay?
right, I see that. Yeah, so this is like really just almost the end of it, is just seeing if there are any special programs you'd like me to go into details about. I see that I guess now the Q&A opened for me. I see that there are some questions about business. And we do offer double majors, of course, in everything. And it could be bilingual if you want it to be, or if it's one of those majors that goes under the flexible. It doesn't have to be bilingual, but we do have courses that are offered in both languages. So, Introduction to Psychology, for example, you could decide to take it in English or in French. What I'm gonna touch on are the programs. So I start with business and then do the BEd specifically, because I'm also the BEd specialist. And I hope whoever is asking those questions also took my contact. Um, so for the international studies, the way that with the global BBA for business, it works in the sense that you come to Glendon as a bilingual student. So bilingualism is required to get into that program and also while you're in it. You spend 2 years at Glendon getting your IBA in international studies, and then you go to France. Now, while you're in France doing the global BBA program at Lyon Business School, they actually have an internship. You're going to have to go across Europe. You find your job and you do it, and it's 6 months, and it could be paid because you're really applying for a job, as long as it is affiliated with the Canada-France Chamber of Commerce. So it is something that has a good reputation. So when you graduate from that program, you already have job experience that you have on your CV, and you have two different degrees that you actually have. We're not talking about double major here; it's a dual degree, an IBA and a BBA. Now, in terms of the uh, BEd specifically, so at Glendon, because our BEd is specifically for French as a second language, what we say about it is that we have three different divisions. So we have the primary, junior, junior intermediate, and intermediate senior. For the primary junior division, we say that we highly recommend that you major in French studies, but at the minimum, you do a minor in French studies. But for the higher divisions, you definitely need to major in French studies. So French studies needs to be your major, and it will be your first teachable, as the program is designed for that. But if you're interested in any other programs at Glendon, you could do a double major, or you could add that second program as your minor. I really hope that kind of answered that specifically about maybe what you need to select. Essentially, when you're applying, if you're using UAC website for that, for this specific program, it will be the YGJ code, and then from that, it will ask you for the subject of major interest. This is where we hope that you would put French studies, and you will be here for 4 years of French studies, and then year 5 and 6 will be the BEd. But you'll take one course, EDUC 1000, that is kind of an introduction to education in your first year. If you're in the YGJ, you'll take that course specifically in French, and there will be a test of your French language. So we give you a placement that I send to students to see if you're at the right level. And what else can I tell you about that one? We have some information sessions that we host regularly about the BEd, and we go into a lot more depth about the requirements. I highly recommend you check our website in the booth fair area, and get in touch with us. And then there was one more, I think, program. Oh no, it was more bilingualism. Um, I'll just take you a bit towards the end, because I want to also mention the fact that um, really at Glendon, although it's a small campus, but the students are a community, and they also participate in a lot of activities and clubs. So you're going to have access to more than 350 clubs. And guess what? If there's something that you don't see in these clubs, you could actually create. When I was a student, I created 5 clubs and I chaired 7 at the same time. And the gym membership gives you access to all 3 gyms on the 3 campuses that we have. And of course, we offer residences. So if you live far and you'd like to move in to live on residence, you could do so. In fact, you don't have to live far to live on residence. I had friends who lived 10-minute walking distance from Glendon and still decided to live on residence to kind of work on their autonomy and try to see like how responsible they could be while they're a student to then kind of be able to move for a job in a different country or, a different province, maybe even. And an exciting announcement is that York is partnered now with the Toronto Raptors, so that would really give students access to a lot of exclusive networking opportunities. And in fact, we're not supposed to tell you that, but I will. Those who have signed up for the open house and will actually do attend our open house on November 9th, they will be entered to draw the tickets, 2 tickets to go to Raptors games. A primary Okay, so I'm answering this question live that we got. So I'll repeat about the Bachelor's of Education. Yes, you could major in psychology and have a minor in French studies if you want to teach at the primary level. So definitely that is a possibility for sure. The minors and the double majors, for those who asked about that, these are things that you declare by the end of your first year. Don't wait too much because you want to still be able to follow the same calendar year. So you don't want to have to like change the requirements for the program when they change year over year. And our residences are Wood and Hilliard, both renovated very recently, and they actually have elevator in the Hilliard residence, so this is really like making it super accessible for students, which is really great. And I told you a bit about our gym. The membership is $25 for the whole year. Yes, which is very, very nice. We've had folks like Adam Sandler actually come and work out at the gym when he's filming in Toronto. So our students got to take pictures with him. I wish I was there that day. But other than the top scholars, we also give you a lot of automatic entrance scholarships that hopefully you'll be able to gain. It goes up to 3,500 per year, and they're renewable and also regainable. So if one year your average drops below the A, then you bring it back up and the following year, then you come back to receiving that amount. And there are so many other scholarships and awards that you need to apply to, so they're not automatic that you're likely going to be eligible for. So definitely please apply to as many as possible. Try to apply within November is what I would say, because most universities will start sending offers in December, and you'd want to know early on how you're doing, and I feel like this would be great. And do not miss any scholarship applications. Ours will be in April. So try to apply for scholarships, even if you don't have any offers whatsoever, you don't have to wait until then. And there will be other open houses if you cannot come on November 9th because it's too soon. And then accepting the offers, this happens on June 9, but you also need to apply for residence to be in that residence guarantee time. So I guess the questions were mostly answered, but if you have more questions, please keep typing them in the chat.
I think one question is, do you offer double majors bilingually?
Yeah, so like it really like every major is available as a bilingual major. So when you double major, it still is bilingual. Um, so you'd have to take the bilingual requirements for sure. And it's much easier to fulfill the bilingual requirements if you take the courses in your major directly in French. So for example, if you're a psychology student as one of your major, you take your introduction to psychology in French, boom, that's it. You meet the bilingual requirements with that, and you also meet the important course for your major. So you could do that with history, with really any program of the program that I showed, and I could, I don't know, I was gonna try and go back to the programs to show you basically. So the only program that you cannot do a double major in is the one that is a dual degree in of itself. So you cannot like double
That
major
makes
in
sense.
international
No.
studies. But BEd plus another major is not a double major. So you could still do a double major at the BA level your first 4 years and then do the BEd. because the
Right.
BEd is the year 5 and 6. So we wouldn't count that as a double major, but of course, when you graduate, you have a BA and a BEd. So you do have
Right.
2
Well,
degrees,
the two
really.
different degrees, yeah.
Exactly.
One last question that I think, now this said specifically for York, and I know your Glendon campus, but the question was, is there a co-op, any co-op opportunities for business studies at York University?
So I think they're trying to put co-ops in that, but what's nice about York in general, so every single program at York, is that if it doesn't have a co-op, it has an internship. And an internship subties, it's even better than a co-op. Co-ops isn't are in alternations between study and work, study and work. Whereas an internship is like you take that class, you enroll in it, but you do the work. So it's kind of, in my view, it's more organized than a co-op in the sense of what the co-op is. And I actually did a placement kind of internship. I wanted it to be even longer than it was, so I stopped my studies and I worked for a year in a hospital because I majored in psychology, and that was, to me, more beneficial than um, my colleagues that I saw at that same job in other capacities doing co-ops. So my advice to you is don't be hung up on the word co-op or the term internship or the term placement. Try to get hands-on experience where you're actually working, you're actually connecting with the field, and is recognized also by the university, and either gives you credit or gives you money, and sometimes it could give you both. So you just
Okay.
kind of focus on experiential education and you will get a lot more than what you think.
Fantastic. Okay, there's two more questions, and we have about 8 minutes left. So, next question is about the BEd program. So, the French option. Do you have to take a certain amount of classes in French to study your BEd in French? I'm assuming the answer is
Yeah,
yes, but you
it's
can
like
explain that.
majority of them will be
Mhm.
like your core courses could be in English, your electives could be in English, but for the most part, um, the BEd in French is the YGJ code, and it's designed to teach French as a second language. And we really care about a high caliber of French teachers. We don't want anyone who take 5 courses to become a French teacher, right? We want them
But
to
you
be
wouldn't be
really
taking that
trained.
course if that was the case, right?
Exactly.
You're
So
taking
there
a
is a
different course.
second, yeah, we do have a second option where you
Yeah.
come to Glendon and you could decide what program you want. And then while you're here, you could take some courses in French to maybe make it a teachable later on. But you will know deep down that you're only taking less courses. So you're not going to be at the same level as someone who major in French for 4 years, but it's still considered a teachable according to Ontario, like OCT, they will still make you a French teacher. They don't mind that.
Well,
But
it's a different, yeah, it's a different
it's
situation.
a different situation. But you're,
Yeah.
in this case, it won't be the YGJ code, it would be the
Right.
YYI code.
Right.
And you would come to Glendon for 4 years and then go to the Kiel campus, do the BEd in English entirely, and get your BEd degree. So you could definitely do that. But if you do choose to come to Glendon, again, if you're specifically thinking primary junior, um, because that level doesn't even require teachables, but only because Glendon has that designation, we say minimum a minor. So that significantly reduces the number of courses that you need to take in French, but it will be still courses within the French studies department. So it's still like hardcore French and literature and linguistics and stuff, but it's much less number of courses compared to a full-on like French studies program. Schulich School of
Fantastic. Okay,
Business.
yes, that's the last two questions. How do I, so a question about applying for business economics, and then what compulsory courses, I don't know if this is, if you know the answer to this, but anyway, compulsory subjects do you need to take in grade 11 and 12 for business economics?
Okay, so a correction to that question. Schulich only offers the Bachelor's of Business Administration, BBA. They do not have anything else but that,
Okay,
and the
thank you for
average,
clarifying.
no, and
Okay,
the
good.
average to get into that is in the 90s. So the cutoff last year, so the lowest grade admitted was 92%. Now, Schulich offers again business administration. So if that's what you wanted, yes. So I'll tell you more about Schulich because I see the other question is also related to that, and then
Yeah.
I'll tell you more about business economics. So for Schulich, you need math. I believe it's 2 math. Actually, let me just pull that up real quick. I had it, but then I forgot it.
And to the participants, this is your last opportunity to write a question in the chat. We have 5 minutes left for our presenter. So please, if you have a last minute question, we can put that to her while she's looking for something for us. Thank you.
Yeah, which I think I found here instead of. Okay, so for Schulich, you're looking at having English and functions and calculus or data management. So this one, they give you an option, but in brackets, they say that calculus is recommended. So my advice is if you will do a lot better in data management and your average will be higher, because again, we're looking at averages in the 90s, do data management. But if it's the same level with calculus, go for calculus because that's their preferred course. And they cannot accept more than 2 4M courses, and any language courses that end with DU are considered M, not U. So be careful with that. And for that as well, you need to make sure that the English requirements and so the English and the math requirements are not below 70. But of course, if you want to keep a 90% average, being at 70 is not really going to serve you. But if one of these courses had to suffer, it really cannot be lower than 70%. So that's for Schulich. Now for business economics, which is actually offered at the Faculty of Liberal Arts and Professional Studies and also at the Glendon campus. That one, for the Kiel campus, you need English and functions, and calculus is recommended. For the Glendon campus, you need English or French and no math required for admissions. But of course, business economics as a program will have a lot of math, will have micro and macroeconomics that you're going to take. So it is definitely better if you do have some form of math that you've taken before, but it wouldn't disqualify you from getting admitted at Glendon specifically.
Okay, it appears you've answered all the questions. Thank you so much. Anyone with a last minute question? We have a couple more minutes, but I would like to thank you on behalf of the Ottawa-Carleton District School Board, Jennifer. I know you had to sort of jump in last minute for somebody who's not well. So thank you so much for your enthusiasm, for the programs at Glendon, for all the work that you've done. Thank you for being available to us today to ask your questions, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate you organizing this. And again, thanks everyone who joined this session as well. And thank you for your questions. And we hope to see you one day at Glendon. And again, feel free to meet with me if you'd like, using my Calendly that I shared at the beginning.
And also, if you have a question, you can ask your guidance counselor, and your guidance counselor will be able to put you in touch with York and Glendon for more information, I would think, right? And for your open houses and that kind of thing. So thank you so much. And we, the students, you may be going to another session. So, and then we'll say our opportunity to say thank you again. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.